Hi, everybody. Welcome to my thesis presentation on non-conventional communication patterns in children, current understandings and effective training for future educators. My name is Grace Devlin, and I'm a current undergraduate senior at Meredith College. For the last 4 years, I have had the privilege to work with and learn from autistic individuals across age groups. During early childhood, I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, which fueled my passion for working with the community. My personal, educational, and career experiences directly influenced my research topic. These experiences allowed me to gain the behavioral definition and label of non-conventional communication patterns, which I have learned are vital for establishing a standard of awareness. The current presentation is broken down into 5 sections: objectives, methodology, results, conclusion, and bibliography. Communication is the building block of life, with the most widely understood of those being verbal. However, childhood communication can be challenging to interpret, especially when non-conventional patterns are present. Still, when an individual has such communicative methods, it is up to the educators around them to ensure that all needs are fulfilled. Previous literature has shown that there is an existence of non-conventional communication patterns and that a lack of understanding has the potential to negatively impact student-teacher relationships and children's feelings of connectedness. Future educators are at the forefront of childhood development, making it essential for them to have an in-depth knowledge of children's varying forms of communication. The present study aims to describe the current state of future educators' understanding of non-conventional communication patterns. Additionally, this study will attempt to increase participants' understanding of different forms of verbal behavior through a virtual self-paced training. It was hypothesized that an increase in understanding of non-conventional communication patterns amongst future educators would be seen after the implementation of a virtual self-paced training. The critical definitions for the focus of the study include tact, man, and delayed echolalia. In brief, a tact is when a communicator is commenting on their environment. For example, if a child points to a peer and states their name, but does not wait around for that peer to interact with them. Here, the child is simply labeling and not trying to start interverbal communication. This is tacting. A man is when a communicator is requesting something. For example, if a child receives a prompt such as "What do you want?" and responds with "cookie," that is a man. This likely occurred because the child was hungry, so the lack of food played an essential role in getting that verbal request. Lastly, delayed echolalia is when a communicator is repeating previously heard stimuli. An example of this would be if a child hears a dog bark and they imitate that sound, woof, minutes to hours later without any clear antecedent. The occurrence of the focused communicative patterns are seen highly in the ASD community, but are also present in many other neurosocial disorders. It is important to note that these verbal behaviors are being examined in regard to their verbal occurrence, and that the previously defined communicative patterns also occur through bodily methods or augmented and alternative communication. Thank you all for your attendance. I'm excited to now dive into the contents of my thesis. Participants were collected through posted flyers on campus, course websites, and social media. Qualification for participation was to be at least 18 years old, a currently enrolled undergraduate student, and not previously or currently taking Meredith College's Advanced Autism Practicum. All participants independently completed the study using their own computers to access Google Forms at a time of their choosing. Participants completed the experiment, which is broken down into 5 primary sections. 1, demographic questions. These pertain to future career and educational plans, as well as previous knowledge of neurodivergence. 2, a pretest that was comprised of 4 question formats and a total of 15 questions. 3, a self-paced training on non-conventional communication patterns created with Prezi. 4, a post-test that had 15 questions, all equal to those found in the pretest. And 5, the attention check, which was made up of 5 questions, all pertaining to the content of the training Prezi. Data was collected through participant submission of the virtual form, and participants showing a score lower than 75% on the attention check were removed. In order to ensure the accuracy of the free response scoring, collaborative coding was performed by 4 registered behavioral technicians. The study had a total of 31 participants, 64.7% of the participants either identifying as neurodivergent or having a family member that does. The demographic results highlighted that only 2 participants were pursuing education, while over half were psychology majors. The first objective of the study was to describe the current state of future educators' understanding for non-conventional communication patterns. Participants' pre-test data indicated a mean score of 5.8 out of the possible 12 points. This means that the average score was below 50%, and in an educational environment, a score of this level would be a failing grade. The second objective of the current study was to implement an effective training on the topic of non-conventional communication patterns for future educators. The average score of participants rose nearly 30%, now landing at 72.8. A paired samples t-test showed a statistical difference of negative 6.47. Now, to examine scores more closely, the data was broken down and analyzed based on the 3 non-conventional communication patterns. The results indicated that all terms were observed increasing in accuracy by over 30% after the implementation of the training. Overall, the study's results show low understanding of unconventional communication patterns among future educators. The hypothesis stated that there was a lack of widespread awareness of non-conventional communication patterns among educators. Furthermore, it was also hypothesized that implementing a self-paced informational training would be effective in increasing overall understanding of the verbal behaviors, tacting, manding, and delayed echolalia. The results indicated provide statistical support for both hypotheses. Moreover, the implemented training was effective in refining the knowledge of future educators. The significance of effectiveness highlights the ability of the training to serve in the revision and extension of existing knowledge about non-conventional communication patterns. Providing concise labels and supporting behavioral definitions for communicative patterns allows for them to be measurable and collectively observable. The increase in measurability and observability creates the opportunity for interdisciplinary support. The findings of the current study will be conducive to the benefit of society, considering that communication plays a pivotal role in connection and development. As a population, children are considered to be vulnerable, and non-conventional communication presents the possibility of increasing these vulnerabilities. Raising the awareness of communicative patterns is vital in ensuring that the needs of this vulnerable population are met. Expanding upon the understanding of future and current educators can actively counteract the underrepresentation of non-conventional communicators and works to ensure that children are gaining beneficial relationships and access to environments that meet standards for diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. I want to take the time to briefly discuss the limitations of the current study, as they are important when discussing generalizability, validity, and reliability. Due to the specification and criteria needed for the population included in the study, the external validity was decreased and makes generalized application difficult. However, these strict parameters for participation allowed for greater experimental control and internal reliability of the results. Here is a quick reference in case anybody is interested. I would like to now bring your attention to the QR code. Do you want to take a small step towards ensuring DEI practices in your community? Here's one literally right here. And all you got to do is take a picture of the slide to have the study's self-paced training in the palm of your hand. Thank you all for your time and consideration. Please feel free to contact me at the email listed if you have any questions.